So therefore, now from the ligamentum venosum, we have seen the upper part of ligamentum venosum. From here, the parietal peritoneum is continuing here as the posterior layer, left free margin, and anterior layer of the left triangular ligament. Now, from this ligamentum venosum and porta hepatis, we come down. The peritoneum is reflected from ligamentum venosum and porta hepatis downwards as lesser omentum. So for this tracing, please come on this side. We take the help of this diagram. In the previous lecture, in the previous segment, we had already drawn this diagram. This is a sagittal section of the entire abdominal cavity in which these are the organs: liver, stomach, transverse colon, small intestine, sigmoid colon, and of course this is the rectum and bladder and the seminal vesicle. Now here, after covering the liver, we have seen this reflection on the liver. This much segment, we have seen how greater sac, this entire greater sac is reflected around the liver. It is coming down as lesser omentum. This is lesser omentum. Now to be more specific in this diagram, if I put here greater sac and if I put here lesser sac, which is also called omental bursa. Now, we know that the entire peritoneal cavity is divided into greater sac and lesser sac. In the last lecture we had discussed. We start with this. From ligamentum venosum on the liver and porta hepatis, this reflection down is lesser omentum. So here, this portion is the lesser omentum. As it comes down, the lesser omentum, it will cover the anterior surface of stomach. Here you can see it is covering the anterior surface of the stomach, anterior superior surface of stomach, and will come at the level of greater curvature of stomach. See here, where my finger is there. Because this is a sagittal section, this is the portion of greater curvature of stomach. And then the same lesser omentum will continue down as greater omentum. But here this reflection of greater omentum is like the shape of a fold of apron. This is the shape of the fold of apron, and therefore it will continue down as greater omentum. So here it is continuing as greater omentum, but this greater omentum, as it is covering the stomach, it consists of 4 layers. First layer, second layer, third layer, fourth layer. So it is continuing as first layer, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth layer. Now if we go according to the numbers, the same lesser omentum as it is coming down, covering the anterior superior surface of stomach, going at the greater curvature, will continue as the first layer of greater omentum. This is the first layer of greater omentum. It will fold around itself and will continue upwards as the fourth layer. So the first layer of greater omentum will continue itself as the fourth layer of greater omentum. And this fourth layer of greater omentum will cover the transverse colon from antero-inferior surface. This is the transverse colon, sagittal section of course. So it will cover the antero-inferior surface of transverse colon and will continue posteriorly as inferior part of transverse mesocolon. So this portion here is called transverse mesocolon. So it will continue as inferior layer of definitive transverse mesocolon on the posterior abdominal wall. And we know that at this point, behind the transverse mesocolon is the pancreas. Here we have drawn this pancreas. On the anterior border of pancreas is the attachment of the root of the transverse mesocolon, where my finger is there. You can see itself. Now coming back to this greater omentum. Second layer will continue as third layer of greater omentum. With the diagram, you are easy to mark. It is very easy to mark. And it is very easy to understand. The second layer of greater omentum, it is coming from above, will continue with the fold as third layer of greater omentum. Now, the important point will be the second and third layer, they are derived from the lesser sac or omental bursa. See the diagram. The entire omental bursa or lesser sac, here, after covering the posterior surface of the stomach, it will continue as the second layer, which will continue as the third layer. So, the second and third layer of greater omentum, they are derived from lesser sac, whereas the first and the fourth layer of greater omentum are derived from greater sac. This is also many times asked in MCQ or 1 mark question answer. Now, what happens will be after puberty, the second and third layer will fuse from the caudal part. And after fusion of second and third layer, the cavity of this omental bursa will be obliterated in the inferior direction where I put an arrow. Because of the fusion of second and third layer of the greater omentum after puberty, what happens will be there will be obliteration of the inferior recess of the lesser sac. Now we are interested in this portion. After reflection, remember we are tracing the peritoneum of greater sac in the vertical disposition, in the vertical tracing. So we have reached till this level. It is covering the transverse colon and will form the inferior layer of transverse mesocolon. And this transverse mesocolon is attached where? On the anterior border of pancreas. But here, at this point, in the embryological life and in the first few years of postnatal life, this region is different. How this region is different will be, here you can see that the fourth layer of greater omentum will cover the anterior inferior surface of transverse colon and will continue as inferior layer of transverse mesocolon. But here, basically, now if I create some space over here, basically in the intra-embryonic life and even after birth, for a few years after birth, this relation is different, in which there are two different layers. Here we are going to show the diagram. So therefore, in intra-embryonic life here, if we simply show that this is the stomach, over here we are going to show the transverse colon. This is where we show the transverse colon, and we show the pancreas. This is where we are going to show the pancreas anterior border. Now, for example, now this pancreas will show more on the posterior side. This is the pancreas, so we can show this is how the anterior border is there. So therefore, now in intra-embryonic life and even few years after birth, how the reflection of the peritoneum will be there, the entire peritoneum, as this is coming down as the first layer, it will continue as the fourth layer. So here, if I write first layer, fourth layer of greater omentum, and inside we are showing that this will be the second layer, which will continue as the third layer and which will continue in omental bursa. So here we are going to write second layer, third layer. This is the third layer, this is the omental bursa. Now the fourth layer of greater omentum in intra-embryonic life as well as a few years after birth, it will continue, this fourth layer, it will continue above the transverse colon till the anterior border of pancreas. From anterior border of the body of the pancreas, it will pass once again down as superior layer of transverse mesocolon. Now this is the primitive transverse mesocolon. Primitive transverse mesocolon, because it is present in intra-embryonic stage and even few years after birth. So it will continue down as the upper layer of primitive transverse mesocolon. It will cover the entire transverse colon and will continue posteriorly once again as inferior layer of primitive transverse mesocolon and will continue on the posterior abdominal wall. From posterior abdominal wall, it will continue down as mesentery, the root of mesentery. After covering mesentery, it will again pass posterior abdominal wall and will continue down as sigmoid mesocolon in this way. So here, now if I complete the diagram, this structure over here will be small intestine, and over here, this will be the sigmoid mesocolon. So it will remain the same. And this structure, here we can mention it as mesentery. This is the sigmoid mesocolon, and this is known as primitive transverse mesocolon. So what is the difference in intra-embryonic stage as well as few years after birth? The fourth layer of greater omentum will pass directly posteriorly to the anterior border of body of pancreas, from where it is reflected down as here, where my finger is there, upper layer of the primitive transverse mesocolon, and will cover the entire transverse colon, and it will, the same layer will continue as lower layer of primitive transverse mesocolon. So there is a space between, where my hand is there, there is a space between the fourth layer of greater omentum, the fourth layer of greater omentum, and the upper layer of, this is the space, and the upper layer of primitive transverse mesocolon in intraembryonic stage as well as few years after birth, this space. Then what happens? After birth, after passage of several years, there will be zygosis, that is the fusion of two layers. Which two layers? The fourth layer and the upper layer of primitive transverse mesocolon. These two layers will fuse. That is called zygosis. The mesothelial linings of these two layers will fuse with each other, which is called zygosis of the fourth layer of the greater omentum with the upper layer of primitive transverse mesocolon. Because of zygosis, because of fusion in adult stage, in adult life, because of this fusion, what happens will be, now please come to this original diagram. This is how the transverse mesocolon, the definitive transverse mesocolon will be present. Please focus on this. So here, this is how the definitive transverse mesocolon, because of the fusion of that fourth layer of greater omentum with the upper layer of primitive transverse mesocolon. So this becomes now the definitive transverse mesocolon. So now you can see the fourth layer of greater omentum will cover anterior-inferior surface of transverse colon and will itself become the lower part of the definitive transverse mesocolon. And then it will continue on the posterior abdominal wall and it will continue down as the root of mesentery. Now we are continuing down. As we continue down, this is the vertical tracing of the peritoneum in the greater sac. As we continue down, it will continue as the root of mesentery, where my finger is there. So here we will write this as mesentery. Now, as this peritoneum will continue down as mesentery, it will cover the coils of small intestine. After covering the coils of small intestine, this root of mesentery, the peritoneum will be reflected once again on posterior abdominal wall and will pass downwards as sigmoid mesocolon. So here I will write this as sigmoid mesocolon. So now the parietal peritoneum will be reflected down as sigmoid mesocolon, from where it will cover the sigmoid colon and will continue again to the posterior abdominal wall, from where it will be reflected down in front of rectum and will enter the pelvis. Of course, the sigmoid mesocolon is itself in the pelvis, pelvic cavity. This is how the vertical tracing is there of the greater sac. Now, where this mesentery as well as the sigmoid mesocolon, where it is attached to the posterior abdominal wall, that particular portion is called the roots. So therefore, this is the root of the mesentery, where my finger is there, where the mesentery is attached to the posterior abdominal wall, the root of the mesentery. This is the root of sigmoid mesocolon, where the sigmoid mesocolon is attached to the posterior abdominal wall. So each portion of the peritoneal reflection, that is the mesentery covering the small intestine, that is covering the coils of jejunum and ileum, will have its root and free margin. Root is where it is attached to the posterior abdominal wall, and free margin is where it will cover all the coils of jejunum and ileum. That is mesentery. That is the fold of peritoneum. Same way, sigmoid mesocolon, it will have its root here, where my finger is there. Root where the sigmoid mesocolon is attached to the posterior abdominal wall, and the free margin where it will cover the entire sigmoid colon. So therefore, till here we have traced the vertical tracing of the greater sac, the peritoneum lining the greater sac, vertical tracing. Inferiorly we have reached till sigmoid colon, and that peritoneum covering the sigmoid colon is called sigmoid mesocolon. Now, two important points which is asked as MCQs or 1 mark question answer. What is the root of attachment of mesentery of small intestine, and what is the root of attachment of the sigmoid mesocolon? These two are many times asked in MCQs or 1 mark question answer. Now here, the root of mesentery, we know the root of transverse mesocolon. Where is the root of transverse mesocolon? Anterior border of the body of pancreas, and this we have explained. So how this transverse mesocolon is formed, how transverse mesocolon was there in embryonic stage, and how this definitive transverse mesocolon is there in adult stage because of zygosis of the fourth layer of greater omentum with the upper layer of the primitive transverse mesocolon, that we have understood. And the root is attached where? On anterior border of body of pancreas, about transverse mesocolon. Now, root of mesentery here. Now the root of mesentery, it will be attached in such a way that the root of the mesentery, this is the root of the mesentery. If I just show, the root of mesentery will be attached in an oblique line. It is attached in an oblique line in the posterior abdominal wall, and it will extend. For example, if I show this as the root of mesentery, and here I write root of mesentery. From the left, it is attached at the duodenojejunal flexure. So here we can show that this portion over here will be the duodenojejunal flexure. So the root of mesentery in the posterior abdominal wall on left side will be attached to the duodenojejunal flexure, and on the right side this root of mesentery will be attached where this root of the mesentery will be attached in front of right sacroiliac joint, in front of the right sacroiliac joint. So therefore here there will be the presence of the right sacroiliac joint. This is ilium and this is sacrum, right sacroiliac joint. And exactly where ileocecal junction is present. So here you can draw, this is the cecum and this is the ilium. This is the ileocecal junction, ilium, this is the cecum, and here ascending colon at the level of right sacroiliac joint where ileocecal junction is there. The right side of the root of mesentery is attached here. These are the points which you need to remember if it is asked in MCQs or 1 mark question answer. What is the level of attachment of the root of the mesentery? On the left hand side, it will be at duodenojejunal flexure. At what vertebral level? It will be roughly at the level of L2. On the right hand side, it will be at the level of the right sacroiliac junction, bony landmark. But it will be attached where exactly? At the ileocecal junction. This is how the root of mesentery will be there in the posterior abdominal wall. In dissection also, when you locate the root of mesentery, this is how it is formed. Then we come to the root of sigmoid mesocolon. The root of the sigmoid mesocolon is V-shaped. Now remember, this is many times asked in the MCQs or Viva question. It is totally V-shaped. So here, this is how the sigmoid mesocolon, inverted V-shape. Inverted V-shape is the attachment of the root of sigmoid mesocolon. And here I can write sigmoid mesocolon. The apex of this sigmoid mesocolon will be in front of the bifurcation of the left common iliac artery. So just behind this will be the bifurcation of the left common iliac artery. So the left side common iliac artery. The apex will be in front of the bifurcation of left common iliac artery. 1 mark question answer. And one structure will pass behind this apex of the root of the sigmoid mesocolon, left ureter. So left ureter will pass behind the apex of the root of sigmoid mesocolon. Then this is the left limb. Remember, it is the left limb. This is the left limb of the root of sigmoid mesocolon, which will be present or it will be attached at the junction of descending colon and sigmoid colon. So here there will be a junction of, if I draw on this side, the descending colon with that of sigmoid colon. This is the sigmoid colon and this is the descending colon. So across the junction of this left limb of the root of sigmoid mesocolon will be at the junction of the descending colon and sigmoid colon. Very important point. What about the right limb? This right limb will be present at the junction of sigmoid colon and rectum. So it will be present at the junction of, now if you draw the sigmoid colon and the rectum. So this right limb will be present at the junction of sigmoid colon and rectum. Across bony landmark, across the left sacroiliac joint. So across the left sacroiliac joint. So here if you draw sacrum and iliac crest and sacrum across the left sacroiliac joint. And this is the junction, left sacroiliac joint, and the right limb, remember this is the right limb of the root of the sigmoid mesocolon, will be across the left sacroiliac joint, and it will extend till the level of S3, till the level of sacral 3 vertebrae. But it will be at the junction of recto-sigmoid junction. So that is the right limb of the root of sigmoid mesocolon. These points are important from 1 mark question answer point of view. So therefore, left limb of the root of sigmoid mesocolon and the right limb of the root of sigmoid mesocolon. It is extending, the right limb will extend from the right, not right, but the left sacroiliac joint till S3 vertebrae, sacral 3 vertebrae, and it will extend across the recto-sigmoid junction, junction between sigmoid colon and rectum. So here we end the root of the sigmoid mesocolon, which is inverted V shape. From this, please come to this diagram. From this sigmoid mesocolon, the root which we have discussed, where my finger is there, from this root, we pass down in the pelvis. The entire vertical tracing of peritoneum will be down in the pelvis, and that we will take up in the next segment. Thank you very much.